John sort of provided us with a nice little segue there because we are now moving to our man Evan Dunlap, who has got the breakdown on Dwight Howard and what's going on in Orlando. Weird day. How would you describe this day for Orlando, for Howard, and for the fans?
Uh, I'm sort of at a loss for words. It's really strange that this happened the way it did. But another year to tinker with their roster. So they have they've essentially hit pause on this whole Dwight thing. He can still leave in 2013. It's not like he signed an extension. He just waived his right to opt out. So it's ultimately good news and sort of makes the whole ordeal worth it, certainly.
Evan, is this just delaying the inevitable? Do they go after? So I mean, I can't imagine that Monte Ellis is sedentary in Milwaukee for very long. I mean, do they have pieces to go after anybody? That I mean, if they essentially have to give up their philosophy of Ryan Anderson or maybe JJ Redick is enticing enough. How do they improve this roster so we don't go through this a year from now?
Well, that's just it. Otis cashed in his best trade chips in December 2010 with the Suns trade, getting rid of Vince's partial expiring Gortat, Petrus, who had a player option, so he was sort of an expiring deal, draft picks. They don't really have any assets apart from JJ, who you might have noticed is pretty good. He's gotten pretty good.
Very good.
And Ryan Anderson, and it's difficult to trade him because not only is he the team's second best player, but because he's in the last year of his rookie deal, he's making less than $3 million. So you can't get fair value. There are very few people at $3 million who can give you what Anderson can. So they're in a tough spot. They don't have many assets now. What I can see them doing in 2013, they should have some cap space. Depending on how much they give Anderson over the summer, he'll be a restricted free agent. They can make a run. Some of the 2013 free agents, Josh Smith, Monte Ellis, but you still have to find a taker for guys like Glenn Davis, Q Rich, Chris Duhon. Yeah.
If you can't find a taker for Chris Duhon, I don't know what league we're in anymore.
He's bad, but he's shooting something like 45% on threes, so he can shoot standing still.
Let me find the word here.
This is nice.
So when you saw what LA was able to get Sessions for, I mean, is he someone who could have helped Orlando? Did it feel like Orlando was so caught up in snagging Dwight that there just wasn't enough energy to find other players, or were there now? Is it your sense there were no deals out there?
I don't think there were any deals to be had. The Sessions thing sort of irks me a bit because point guard is clearly Orlando's weakest position overall. Although Jameer has been much improved.
Jameer's playing like 2009 Jameer, yeah.
He is, yeah. Amazing what happens when you hit jump shots. Suddenly you look really good, even if you're not doing anything differently. Can you tell I follow a team coached by Stan Van Gundy, by the way?
Yeah.
No,
How great has it been to cover him in these press conferences?
Oh, God.
He is a delight. A treasure, a true treasure. But back to the Ramon Sessions thing. I've always liked Sessions, even when the Bucks brought him back from the D League as a rookie, and he had random 30-point, 20-assist games. I've always liked him, even though he doesn't shoot the three ball, just because he can get into the paint. He's by no means a perfect player, but that's really something Orlando lacks, is a guy who gets into the lane. And so when the Lakers give up Capono, protected first, and Luke Walton, tell me that you wouldn't. That Duhon, Q Rich, and a first is not the same trade.
Right.
I mean, but yeah, I think Otis was in a press conference with Dwight today, and certainly keeping your league best center for another year is more important than bolstering your backup point guard position. So I don't really know what was out there for Orlando to do, but I do the Sessions thing really stood out to me as they got him cheaply, and I think that the Magic could have had something in there, a similar sort of deal.
Is this team? I mean, how do you feel about this team? They've won two, or I guess they beat the Heat by, kind of, if that I guess my question is, if that Wade jumper goes in, is Howard's decision any different? I mean, it seems like they're just kind of on an upswing now, and now it feels like he should stay. Is this, I'm thousands of miles away. What's your sense of it?
Well, it's good vibes right now. I mean, which is a weird thing to say a night after you played crappier defense than an All-Star game against the Spurs. 135 offensive rating for San Antonio in that game, by the way. But I think the photos on the team playing that Quentin Richardson tweeted, it's good vibes. But I don't think this team is really too serious a contender, to be honest. And I do think maybe things would have gone differently if the Dwayne Wade jumper had fallen. I mean, Butterfly flaps his wings, and Dwight Howard's in Brooklyn right now. We don't really know, but the important thing is they bought themselves some time, and Dwight has some time too. He said he's going to make some changes. It's such a vague thing to say, to make sure he doesn't get such bad advice again. To me, that would mean firing Dan Fegan and your business manager. Can you see the air quotes I make? Business manager?
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening, especially because his manager is his cousin. So, but I think he.
Explain for the lay person what the dynamic is there with Fegan wanting to get a new contract and how that sort of all plays into things.
Okay, Dwight signed with Aaron Goodwin coming out of high school, and Goodwin was with him up until 2010. So which means that he negotiated the 2007 extension he signed with the Magic. I mean, I say negotiate, but he was going to get a max deal. But anyway, he got the commission on that max extension in 2007. But Dwight switched to Fegan in mid to late 2010, I believe. So Fegan does not see a cut, any sort of commission until Dwight signs a new contract, be it with Orlando, New Jersey, Harlem Globetrotters.
He'd be so good on the Globetrotters.
He could play point guard. He's always wanted to play point guard. That would be a train wreck, but a delightful one to watch. So Fegan has an interest in getting Dwight paid, and the sense I get, and this is just a sense thing, it's not, I'm not connected or whatever, is that Dwight has people in his ear who want him going to Brooklyn or big market X. But I think Dwight needs to realize, and who was it? That power agent who had like an interview with Sports
David Falk?
Illustrated last. I don't think he's an agent anymore. Yes, correct. Yes, thank you. David Falk was saying, with like the internet being what it is, you don't have to play in such a big market to be a superstar. I mean, look what Dwight's already done, playing in Orlando this is his 8th season. So he's got people. I think it's just sort of an outmoded idea that you have to play in New York or LA or Chicago to be this, to use LeBron's favorite phrase, global icon. I think Dwight can do that in Orlando.
Is that his favorite phrase?
But
I thought it was shower me with your love.
I made that up.
Yeah. Look at me. Look at me.
Chalk toss.
Yeah.